But I want us to begin by saying our affirmation together. My life as an eternal celebration of joy. Now let's stand and sing the Faith Rivera Stand Together song.
Good morning. This is something new that we want to try this year. Every year we seem to choose something special to do around the holidays. And this year we have some wonderful young people in our church that would appreciate a little extra joy in their Christmas. And so we have 12 angels. Let me show you what they look like. Here, back on the tree. And we're asking that that you take one per family, or you can take two if you want, but at least one. And on the back is going to be a request. And we didn't put the child's name on it, but what we did was we put their age and something that they might like to have. And what we're asking is that you, because of the age, you make it age appropriate. And we have all different ages in our church. If this works out really well, we're hoping to add community members next year, but we're going to start locally, and we just ask that when you choose the angel, I have a sign-up sheet, and there is a number on the back of your angel, and we will coordinate it. We'll put it here. So make sure you choose the angel and sign up with the appropriate number, and I'll be at the back, or Diana will be at the back, and we'll make sure that these children receive the gifts. And we're asking that if you can buy it this week, wrap it in Christmas paper, make it nice and festive, bring it and your angel back, and we'll attach it. That would be great. If you need 2 weeks to shop, that's great. We're going to be really close then to Christmas, but we'll make sure that these gifts get delivered to the children. So if you have any questions, please see me after church. It's just a wonderful program. It's something that I brought from another church that I attended, and the children just truly, truly loved it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Carla. Yeah, you know, you always see angels at a variety of different stores throughout the community, and I love that we're doing this for our own Ohana community in addition to what else we might do outside of church. And before I invite Patrick up to make an update announcement, for those of you who may not know, we did lose our pastor, our beloved Rev Deb, on November 5th of this year, and we have been going through the process of healing and grieving and laughing and crying and doing all the things that you do as a normal process of losing someone you love so much. And her dear daughter, Sasha, is also a church member and was also not only Rev Deb's daughter, but Rev Deb was one of her closest friends. So she is having a real tough time. And she brought, to say thank you to the congregation, she made a beautiful thank you card and gave it to Sandy and Shannon, who've been working really closely with her. So I'd just like to read what it says. And we'll put it up on the board up in the refreshment area. Thank you, everyone, for your generosity and love and kindness. I'm grateful for all of you as I walk through one of the most difficult times in my life. Sasha and the kids, Max, Kea, Poaku, and Polu.
Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to briefly stand up here and talk to you a little bit about what's been going on with the church. Now, of course, we have an Ohana meeting at the end of this month on the 30th, so we'll be able to talk more in depth about what's going on and kind of give more updates and answer questions and all of that then. But I just wanted to discuss with you guys that we do know that Rev Deb's memorial service has been arranged. It's going to be January 5th at 3 p.m. at Hale Hale Vai down in Kona. So we'll be putting that in our regular announcements, but mark that date. And then on the January 6th, Faith Rivera is going to be here. She's going to be our guest speaker that day, and she's going to sing for us. And so just so you guys know, we just want to be as transparent as we can with what's been going on. You know, we thank you guys all so much for your patience and understanding as the board has been working through this time. You know, there's really big shoes to fill, and so we're just really, really thankful for all of you for understanding while things have been a little bit murky the last couple of weeks. But we have been in contact with Unity Worldwide Ministries, and we've been speaking with their She's kind of like a transitionary assistant. She helps Unities find replacement ministers, and so we've been talking with her. We had our first call with her last week, and then we've also been talking with Diamond Head and Windward Unity on Oahu about guest speakers in the meantime, and so we should be seeing more announcements about that coming up. And so, and you know, that's really mostly what's been going on in the meantime. We've just been kind of getting this process started. And if you have any specific questions that we can't address right here, if you have any concerns or anything, please talk to one of your board members. You know, we're here to serve this church, and we're here to keep you guys informed as to what's going on. And of course, we have the Ohana meeting coming up on the 30th. That's potluck, so bring your favorite snack or treat to share. But just please, if you're on the board, could you just raise your hand here? Please contact us if you have any questions or concerns. Also, Steve is on the board, Jim is on the board. We just want to be sure that everybody knows what's going on and that we're all clear as to what we're doing moving forward.
God's peace is mine. All things contribute to the calm peace of my soul. Peace is always possible, even on the busiest of days. I am never far away from what the Apostle Paul called the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding. I am a living expression of God, just as every person is. I know that peace, like all God's qualities, seeks expression in my life. In the stillness of prayer, I embrace God's peace, allowing it to fill my body, mind, and spirit. Centered in the stillness of God, I go about my daily activities, affirming God's peace is mine. All things contribute to the calm peace of my soul. Interruptions and inconveniences no longer upset me. My peaceful presence blesses me and everyone I meet. Philippians 4:7, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Now if you'll say it with me. God's peace is mine. All things contribute to the calm peace.
Every breath, there's a choice to make. Every thought is another opportunity to shine. Be a light for all to see. Choice is mine. And manifest a destiny so divine. And full of possibility. It's plain to see. It's up to me. And I will choose love. I will choose kindness. I will choose peace in every word I say. I will choose love. I will choose honor. See the divine in everything that comes my way. Each and every day I will choose each and every day. I will choose love.
This is a guided meditation for us to experience a few minutes of peace. Find a seat that's comfortable for you. Maybe roll your shoulders just a little bit. Try and bring your attention inward. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. And as you come into stillness, see if you can let go of any tension. See if there is any place you can let go and soften. Bring your attention to your breath. You don't have to change anything, just your normal, natural breath. This is home. This is home base. This is where you can rest your attention. Now bring your attention to your heart center. From your heart center, think of a word that brings you a sense of peace. A word that opens up your heart space. Your word could be love, or kindness, or peace, or God, or a person's name. Whatever brings feelings of peace. And if you find yourself wandering away with your thoughts, come back to your breath. Come back to your word. Come back to feelings of peace. Come back to your breath. Come back into your body. Come back into the room. May our lives be lived from our heart space of peace. And slowly open your eyes. The divine light in me sees the divine light in you. Namaste.
Thank you, Kristen. That was beautiful. We are so blessed to have so many talented people in our congregation. Each and every one of you brings a unique gift to the world, and especially to our little Ohana here in the Unity of Kona. I'm reminded of the great talents of our musicians, our gifted yoga instructors and martial artists, the cooks who prepare the great treats that we enjoy every Sunday, the people who just even show up and share their light with their beautiful smiles and open heart. And it's especially challenging at this time of year, this time of Christmas, the season of Christmas. Today is actually on the Advent candle lighting process. It's the day for peace. And as Kristen was just talking to us, every day is a day that we can turn inward and touch that peace that's in our heart through the divine love that we have within us, that was born so many years ago in a little town in Bethlehem. that divine love. And we celebrate at Christmas time that birth of Christ. And you know, it's interesting because I often think about what it might have been like had I been living back at that time when Christ was born. I wonder if I presented myself in Bethlehem to register and pay the tax that was due, if I would have been aware of what was going on. You know, this amazing, world-changing, all-important 2,000 years later, significant event. Would I have known what was happening? Would I have been in touch the way those wise men were, the way the shepherds were? You might find that you yourself ask you that question, or it may be that it never crosses your mind, but it has crossed mine. And you know what's great is it doesn't really matter whether we knew back then or if we were back then aware of what was happening, of that important event of this little baby in a manger, born in a humble setting, being born and bringing into the world the knowledge of the consciousness of the divine love that resides within each and every one of us, the peace that we have available to us when we turn inward, as Kristen was describing in her beautiful meditation. That's what's the important thing. And so we're awake now to that beauty, that divine inner love that resides in each of us as a consciousness throughout the world. And at Christmas time especially, I think we're a little bit kinder to each other. Our true selves come out, that magic and wonder of just being filled with what innately is part of who we are. And I would suggest that is, we are kind, friendly, loving, caring people, pretty much year-round, but sometimes we might lose sight of that in the hustle bustle of daily life between January 15th and November 20th or so. We might lose sight of just the joy that comes with Christmas time and all that it brings. And somehow, when we turn our eyes to the birth of Jesus and we remember the reason for the season and focus on that, we find a little bit extra patience. You'll notice people maybe driving their cars and they'll let somebody in or not. But usually you can recognize that's a nice gesture, or a server's a little bit nicer to you, or a person at the checkout stand is a little bit kinder. Or you'll see at the mall a young man who obviously probably doesn't have very much money digging into his pocket, pulling out a couple quarters and putting them in the Salvation Army ringer's little container. We just tend to be a little bit nicer to each other at Christmas time. And wouldn't it be great if instead of Christmas is a seasonal thing, it became a year-round thing? So Christmas is available to us year-round by going inward, remembering who we really are, and displaying that to the world. Mother Teresa had a quote or a saying that I really liked, and that is that she saw herself as a pencil, and that she was expressing God's love through her actions, basically creating a love letter. So when I was talking with Carmen about this talk, you met Carmen earlier, I was inspired, or maybe it was her, but somewhere I think Reb Deb was in this mix, and it came to me that what if we think of ourselves not as a pencil writing love letters? In essence, if I can explain this correctly, the vision is you are an instrument of God's love manifest in the world through your actions and your words and how you operate in life and what you do. And so the Crayola idea I like because there's so many of us. There's so many varied people, shapes, sizes, colors, backgrounds. And what I've given to you in your little plastic envelope, you can go ahead and take that out right now, are a couple of crayons. And there's also a piece of a bigger drawing. It came from this adult coloring book of hearts. And how appropriate, right? That we should be using hearts as the backdrop for this mosaic that we're coloring on, because our Our Reverend had the biggest heart I have ever seen. You could not contain it. The world could not contain her heart. And so we are going to, each of you, I want you to start right now, because my goal is that as I'm talking, you're going to keep coloring, and I know I've only given you 2 colors to choose from, but start coloring your picture, because then at the end of our talk, or I'm going to have someone collect all of those colored pieces. You'll notice that they're numbered on the back with a letter and a number, because there are 4 pieces that go together to make a whole. And it's going to complete this picture. So each of you only has a quarter of the picture. And what I like about this is it reminds me that each of us has a purpose here on this planet. Each of us has a gift that we bring, and all of the activities and all of the things that occur to us, and I should have brought a book or something for you to color on, but I can see that you're rolling with it and you're figuring out how to get those pages colored. Thank you for that. You're doing your part, which is what we ask. And so when you put it all together, you can better see what it is. Right now, maybe some of you have a design that shows a little bit of the hearts. Others might have only a portion, so you really can't see what the bigger picture looks like. And that's kind of how it is in our world, isn't it? With us as humans, or us as spiritual beings having this human existence, we don't know what the big picture looks like, but God has a view of what that bigger picture looks like as we walk our paths and we do our thing. As you're coloring, I did want to talk just a little bit about how at this time of year, we do tend to be a little bit kinder to each other, and we do express as God's love by what we do. And I have a couple examples, and there will be a part where you can participate, and I'm going to encourage you to. I'm going to ask you to be thinking as you're coloring. I know that's a lot to ask. You're coloring, and I'm also got you thinking about some examples of what I'm going to describe here in a moment. I want you to be thinking about, either in your own life or someone else's life, a Crayola, the Crayola being that other human being who's doing something kind in the world. If you can think of some examples of that. I want to give you a very great example that happened to me just this morning. I was trying to print this talk out, and I have a brand new printer, and it wouldn't print. It would not print. It said it was printing, but there was nothing coming out of the printer. So I'm thinking, okay, do not panic. Do not panic. There's a way to solve this problem. I zipped an email out. Well, first I sent a text to a couple friends and said, hey, Carla, Diana, could one of you help me out? Print this, please. Send it, just in case I didn't see it, I sent it to another friend. Can you print this out? Like, leave it in your mailbox and I'll come by. Send it to my neighbor. Hey, could you print this out? So when I got my note back from Carla, I went, phew, that's amazing. I got another note back from my friend who said, yes, I'll print it out. If I printed it out, it's in my mailbox. You can swing by and pick it up on your way to church. I came out to my car. My next door neighbor had it underneath my windshield. I ended up with 4 versions of this talk today. So they all had my back. And that is the kind of thing that you can do, a little act of kindness. Another example, many of you know that I am part of a business women's group, and we did a big giant poinsettia sale last Sunday. That's the only reason I was not here. And somehow we kind of got our wires crossed. I'm not saying whose fault it was. I think it might have been mine, but doesn't matter. Neither here nor there. We were not successful at securing the date and the location of Holly Vai, where we have our event every year. As such, we were in a quandary. The St. Michael's Church always does their bazaar with us, and they asked, when I very tail between my legs, went to them and said, you know, here's the thing. We're going to have to find a new place to do our poinsettia sale, so hope you guys will want to come with us, but we don't know where it's going to be. Father Leo of St. Michael's Church said, of course, you will do it here on the grass lawn with no charge, which we have always had a charge at Holly Vai. So there's another example of a nice thing done by a kindness that's done. True, he's a father in the Catholic Church, but even so, a beautiful example. I'll give you one more, because I think by now you've probably gotten the hang of this, and you're on you might have something to contribute of your own. I am reminded by a dear friend's young grandson, who's 8 years old. He had his 8th birthday last month, and in lieu of gifts on his own, he asked his mom, Can I have my friends bring money for the children's hospital instead of a gift for me? Would that be okay? That is a giving heart. That is a loving young man who's looking beyond his own needs at the greater needs of kids his own age who have cancer and are in the hospital. He wanted to make sure that he could do something to help those kids out. That was his request. So, of course, he did ask if the family could bring in presents, but still, that was a very great example. How about any of you? Can any of you think of someone in your life, or maybe it's your own experience that you've seen in action where you've done a kindness for another person or situation? Carla?
Yesterday I was standing in line ordering a burrito, and there was a mom that had a child that was so fussy that she was, just having a fit. And I started playing peekaboo. And before, she could actually get up to order, the baby was laughing and smiling, and I was hiding behind the person that was in front of me, back and forth. And so as the lady left, she whispered,
Did everybody hear that? Carla was saying that she was in line to order a burrito, and there was a very fussy baby in front of her, and the baby was just really upset, and the mom was at wit's end, and so Carla started playing peekaboo with the baby and got her laughing and carrying on and in a happy place. And the mom made a point of thanking Carla. Good job, Carla. That's a great example. Anybody else? Carmen.
I told Kathy I'd be a shill. And I have a very dear friend who loves to garden, and I imagine there's got to be a few people that love gardening. But the reason I picked this woman, who I think is a crayon, she's a whole box of crayons, is she took this thing that she's good at, that she loves. It's not anything hard to do, and she convinced the local school, the middle school, to put together a community garden. First, the community garden started at her church, and people could buy a plot and grow tomatoes, they could grow flowers, they could grow whatever they want. Well, this thing is expanded out. You just never know what kind of crayon you can be. And so now she has this middle school where they've got several planters, and they are growing tomatoes. I know that for sure. It's nothing like a homegrown tomato, right? And these kids are now soup to nuts, so to speak. They till the soil, they plant the tomatoes, they harvest the tomatoes, and they're using the tomatoes in the cafeteria for the kids' lunches. And
Wow.
I just think something that you do every day that you think, oh, what does this mean, or whatever. I'm so inspired by those kind of simple acts that it's really taken hold. So I think she's at least a couple of crayons.
At least a couple, if not a whole pack. Thank you, Carmen. That's great. Well, while you're continuing to think and color, I'm going to just mention that one of our very own parishioners, if you don't mind me saying Kristen, it is Kristen, told us at the prayer meeting the other night about an organization she's involved in, and we'll have an opportunity to maybe get involved in as a congregation here pretty soon. But she actually goes up to an impoverished area of Kona, up out near the Reese store. There's a community of people who are in need, and there is a meal served at least once a month out there. And you want to talk about it? Can you hear her? Do you want? Here.
I'm going to make a longer presentation next month, but there's a housing across from Habitat for Humanity called Uluwini, if I'm pronouncing the Hawaiian correctly, and they do a once a month feed and read. And right now Daily Mind is bringing in these amazing dinners, and then after dinner, then we read to the kids. And so next month I'm going to tell you more about it and see if the church would like to get involved in this, maybe 1 month next year or something. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. So So there's another example, and I know each of you has tons of things, because it doesn't have to be anything big. It's not a community garden. It's not like launching a program. It's like the next door neighbor who printed my papers for me this morning. It's somebody grabbing your hand when you're feeling a little bit nervous, maybe on a flight somewhere. It's all those little things that we can do throughout the year, not just at Christmas time. It just feels as though at Christmas time we do tend to be a little bit kinder to one another. And my thought for each of us is that this kindness is God's expression of love. And it's something that is not just seasonal. I keep repeating on that because I really want us to be thinking about ways in which we can carry that throughout the whole year. It never goes away, our kindness. And as we've been discussing this morning, it does seem a little more prolific at Christmas time. The light of God's love, though, is always present and presenting itself. And it grows especially bright, even here in Hawaii, where we have the benefit of sunshine. I love that Christmas comes in the middle of winter. I spend part of my time in the Northwest. In fact, that's where I'm heading tomorrow. And people are telling me, yes, snow is in the forecast. And I'm like, yay, yay. But and it's dark and cloudy and rainy. And so Christmas time brings that little bit of light, the light of and hope of Christ's birth. Yeah, at Christmas we explode with generosity, and we call it the Christmas spirit. It swells and bursts forward, and we are, as I've mentioned before, a little kinder to each other. I want you, as you're continuing to color, has anybody else thought about an example they want to share? We've got some kind of quiet people in the congregation this morning. You can't speak and color at the same time. Okay. I like that. Sharon says she can only do one thing at a time. Chris, do you want to share something?
I do, actually. And I know he's not watching.
Okay. Can you hear Chris? Do you want his microphone?
I'll use my computer.
Okay, great.
When David and I have actually known each other since we were 22, so that was many, many years ago. But when we actually reconnected in our mid-40s, we were going on initial dates, and one of our first ones was his birthday. And I said, I really want to take you out to dinner. Can we get on this?
Oh, it's okay. You're among friends.
So I said, I really want to take you out to dinner. And he goes, I need to go to the grocery store first. And I said, well, I'm buying dinner. It's like, you have to go to the grocery store. We proceed to walk to the grocery store, and he's just filling this cart with food. And I'm like, okay, I guess we're cooking. But on our way home, he stops by the food bank and drops it all off.
Oh.
And I said, what is this all about? He said, my life has been so richly blessed that on my birthday, I have to leave it to the back. So that's just one of the many things that David has done. And the other is, I have referred a lot of the teachers. I taught in a low-income school for 16 years. And one of the librarians I worked with, truly living on poverty level. She was raising her $2, and I don't know how she was living. He took her on as a client for her taxes, and never went to the tax. So he does this sort of thing all the time, and he just won't talk about it, but he truly is unhinged. Like, he is the best thing that has ever happened to me, and I, every day, try to emulate his actions. I know you never say that about himself.
That is so fantastic. Thank you for sharing, Chris. And he's referring to our very own David Kennelly, right? Did I get that right? I'm saying his name thinking that I've gotten it wrong. But that is the sort of thing that all of us do all the time. And of course, he wants to take no credit for it, right? And that's sort of how we operate in this world. Kindness and love and peace at this time of year. I was going to have you do a second task, but I'm getting pushback on just even coming up with your examples. So I'm going to roll with the throw, Rev Deb, and I'll just give you this assignment to do separately. I had Larry lined up to play music, Maybe you can play some music in the background right now while I'm talking. Why not? We love to hear Larry play again with all of the beautiful gifts that we have in this church. All of the talented people. But I was going to have you for yourself in 2019. I want you to hang on to those crayons, and I want you to hang on to that little note card. And I would like you to, for 2019, this is the opposite of what we do at the end of the year when we do our Love Bowl ceremony and we're releasing the things of 2018 that we want to let go. This is already a little bit of a fast forward, looking ahead into 2019. What do you want to see more of in the world? How do you want to express as God's love in the world? What kinds of things do you want to undertake to make this world a little better place? Is it buying some food at the food bank, for the food bank rather? Is it starting a community garden? Is it going up and joining the church, which I'm sure we will take that project on at some point, and reading to children? Is it grabbing somebody's hand on an airplane as they're obviously nervous? It is the little things that each and every one of us do on a daily basis that truly reflect God's love in this world. And that, I would argue, is why we're here. We're here as an extension and as a representation of God's love. So when Christ was born, those many thousands of years ago, 2,000 plus years ago, he was coined the Prince of Peace and brought love and hope to us in this world. And our role is as a Crayola in this box of only 120. You know, they used to have the little sharpener on the back. Now they got this little guy called Tip that's inside the box for you to sharpen your pencils with. And I kind of like that, because if you think, can you see him? Here, pass this around. The pencil sharpener for the Crayolas is sort of like, I would challenge you that little sharpener is a reminder.